Welcome to the Nerve Guys podcast, where we discuss movement and well-being from the brain's point of view. Hosted by Gareth Kelly and James McCambridge, this week's episode is sponsored by the Neuroband, a wearable vision and balance training tool designed to develop posture, focus, and flow. More info at the end of the episode. Last week, I thought I was fine, and then had some friends came over to London. They were like, "Oh, come meet us," and I went out with them for like an hour. And the entire time they were talking to me, I couldn't understand anything they were saying. Like pretty much all of it. I just couldn't take anything in, and then like all my lymph nodes and stuff started to swell up, and then my face started to go puffy, and
Yeah,
uh,
mine hasn't done any of that now. It's right in the center of my head. It's just that it's pushing on number 5
yeah,
and it's causing it all down in here. Like, and up around the eye, and it's just my sinuses. There's something going on in there, and it's just shit.
fun stuff. Yeah, I'm a little bit better, but I empathize. Um,
It better get better soon. This is my second week, and I'm gonna go postal. You know, fuck.
so, um, with that in mind, I guess we'll talk about what kind of movement you should do when you're sick, because it's
Yeah,
one of the ones we always tell people that the answer to everything's movement, but actually, when you're super ill, maybe that's one exception where most of the time it's probably better to be doing nothing.
yeah. Well, you want to conserve calories so that your body can fight off whatever the hell's brought it down. Like now, don't get me wrong, like moving is always better than not moving because you like pump your lymphatic system and do all that. So when we say kind of rest a bit when you're sick, I don't mean like we don't mean like couch potato, just be a big chunk sitting there doing nothing. Like do normal things, get up, go for a walk. Like so you don't have to go run 5K, but you can go walk 500 meters, or you don't have to go lift weights, or you don't have to stretch, but you could just do basic bare minimal movement, but you're not killing yourself as well. So you're giving your body the calories. I would always say overeat when you're sick. Eat more
Yeah,
than you think you normally should. So you've got a calorie surplus. And just do basic, normal little movements that just keep everything a little bit limber, like going for a walk or having a full body yawn. What do you think?
yeah. I mean, I definitely want. I'm the kind of person that until I'm really, really bad, I'm just going to pretend nothing's wrong, and I'll be doing everything like normal. And then there'll be a certain threshold that when I hit, there's no way, and then I just get into bed and I try to stay there for as long as I possibly can. But I think one of the indicators that actually still total stillness isn't good is the fact that it's almost impossible. Like when I'm lying in the bed, you'll still get way more often than, if I was just lying down after work or something. I get all these just irritations in my body. So things start to be like, oh, I don't like this, don't like this. I don't like how I'm sitting. I can't find a good position. And it's just my brain going like, all right, if you're going to commit to actually not leaving this bed for 12 hours, then I still need you to be moving around. So it just starts giving you all of these impulses to like not be comfortable so that you actually fight for a different position of comfort, and then that actually does kind of get a bit of movement going. But I
Yeah,
also agree, like I don't think my way is the good way to do it, because I still think going for a walk and stuff, and actually that's the other thing is I'll do that while I feel sick, and then the second I feel like I'm past the worst of it, then the next thing is like I won't feel better until I go outside and walk for about 20 minutes. And I have to do that. So the illness could be gone, but if I don't actually get some kind of vigorous movement going on, I will just stay sick for the next week, the next month. I'm pretty sure it just would never go away until
You need that movement to flush it out of your system, and B, some of these pump systems in your body, some of the like look at the lymphatic system and stuff, they need movement to function to do their job. And one system you really want to be working well when you're sick is your lymphatic system. So, you have to move at least the bare minimum for that to work, for it to do its job, to help you get better. But yeah, it's then as soon as you get outside, it just you get better light, you get better fresher air. It's not stale and stinky with your farts. You know, you get your eyes exercise, you get the walk, you get cardiovascular system working. Your joints are moving, so you're just covering all the bases by going for a little stroll when you're sick. That's it.
yeah, I guess the thing is like the rest and digest thing of like as long as you're not pushing yourself into high stress,
Yeah, don't
then
push it.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, as long as you're staying in that kind of rest and digest thing, if you're pushing it into more into the kind of fight or flight, um,
Or zone
mode,
2.
into zone two, yeah, then
Oh no! Oh
you're
no! I'm
asking for
dead. Zone
trouble.
1. Yeah.
Although
Like
having said that, I remember, and maybe the reason that I do it in a slightly worse way, where I will just immobilize myself. I remember being a kid and I felt sick one day, and I remember my dad being like, "Yeah, just go get some fresh. You just need to go get some fresh air." So we went out on a walk, and then a day later or 2 days later, when I went to the doctor, it turned out I had scarlet fever. It was really bad. So,
that's
um,
fair.
I
Yeah,
think
like there are
that
certain times where you can't go for a walk where you may be bedbound. Don't be an idiot. You know, like
I am
judge,
definitely an idiot. That's a
judge.
big part of the
Kind of
problem.
judge how it's gonna go. Like, and don't take the piss. You don't know if you're capable of going for a walk. Don't go. These dudes on the internet said go for a walk, so I'm going to push myself to go for a walk. And like you're fucking dying here with scarlet fever or whatever. That stuff does not work. You know,
Yeah,
listen to the body. You'll know if you're capable of going for 100, 200, 300 meter walk or whatever, or a mile, or if you're not, just dander around the house or even sitting up and lying down. All helps.
yeah. One, I kind of tell people if you're really not sure, like most of the time, yeah, like you said, you go out and then you're like, nah, I'm not feeling this. This is still bad. If I tell people like if you just can't tell, just feel your pulse and then be like, go for a little walk around your house. And if your pulse is like, then you're like, all right, you've actually probably hitting your limits
Yep.
here. Like, it can
Like,
be pretty
yeah,
reliable.
I always say like this is probably only really for men though. But if you need to sit down when you go for a pee as a dude, it means you're not well enough to be walking about. Like if you're like, oh, I feel a bit dizzy standing here. You need to
Yeah.
sit down, then you probably shouldn't be walking. Like if it's a bit ropey going to the toilet and you're sitting on the toilet seat going, oh, male or female, if you're sitting down going, whew, that's a high heart rate for that. You know,
Yeah.
like, well, it depends what your body movements are normally like, but if it's like, if you're a real fighter anyway, like, just go with what they normally are. But like, that's for me is always a good sign. Like, if you struggle to breathe, like, as in, like, it's a lot of effort to go to the bathroom and
Yeah.
back, you probably shouldn't be leaving the house.
Yeah. That's another one is like if you're able to breathe through your nose comfortably as well, then a lot of the time you're probably fine. And if you can't, then it's like, all right, maybe give it a rest. Like that's either it's going to be blocked up or just suddenly moving around your house, going for like a walk to the kitchen and back actually has you kind of panting, then that's probably a bad sign as well.
Yeah. So like just have a bit of a wiggle, have a bit of a stroll, and just take it easy because you'll end up shortening the amount of time that you're sick by not pushing yourself too hard, because overexertion keeps people sick for ages, whether it's going to work, whether it's trying to do too much stuff around the house, or stick to a diet plan, or do any of that crap. Like, that all goes out the window when you're sick. Just chill out.
Yeah. And like all of those things you can get back on track with anyway. Like and you do just make it worse if you start telling yourself, like, not even just physically, like, so yeah, doing your workout, you're raising your stress levels, which means now the immune system and the lymphatic system has more stuff to clear out, as well as whatever, bacteria or virus you're battling. But then also psychologically, if you're feeling like crap because you're not doing the things that you want to do or that you said you would do or whatever, that's not really that good either, because actually what you're supposed to be doing when you're sick is resting. So there's just no point.
Yeah, and like you're weaker and you're tighter and everything when you're sick. Like, the idea when you're sick is to lie there in the cave and have the rest of the tribe bring you food to get you better. That's it. So
Yeah.
lie on your arse and get brought food.
Yeah. And that's one of the things as well, is like when your social connections are better, you're actually more likely to get sick. Because when the more social you are, the more hyper vigilant your immune system's going to be, because there's more likely to be viruses passed around between people. Whereas when you're less social, you might be like, yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones, I never get sick. But actually, it's just because you're in contact with fewer people. But then the flip side of that is your brain makes inflammation happen much more easily. So for a lot of people, especially when you're dealing with chronic pain and stuff like that, you're like, actually, I'm not getting super sick, but I'm in loads of pain all the time. But then that makes you not go out. So actually, you don't have to deal with the immune stuff. But basically, your brain's gone, well, because you're not part of a group anymore, you're more likely to sustain an injury, or if something comes and attacks you, then you're going to need to physically, like, you're going to have to recover from a physical injury rather than a bacteria or a viral injury. And so, yeah, your inflammatory response is just super hyperactive.
And the brain doesn't want to spend calories potentially fixing something. So it might, and some people just give them pain to stop them going out and venturing too far into the world, because it's cheaper to not fix the injury in the first place. It's cheaper to have a small, low cost inflammation or pain, like a little lower back pain or an knee pain, that makes you kind of psychologically limit what you do, than have to push this big boulder that's fallen off you or fight off the bobcat. So the brain's trying to like future proof its calories, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's I think also, so even with inflammation, actually the same thing is, to get out of it, you do need a certain amount of move. Well, with inflammation, it's even more movement, but I think for the two of them, there's an element of the brain needs this, but then at the end, there's an element of, oh yeah, no, it's just got comfortable. Like, it just decided, yeah, we're we're happy this way. You stayed at home for 3 days. People brought you food. If you don't need to go get the food, then why not just have people keep bringing you food for the rest of your life, and until it's not an option, then
Exactly.
yeah, it just keeps happening.
Can I have that?
Can you
Can I have
have?
that? People bring me food for the rest of my life.
Well, I think that's what your brain's going to try. It just goes like, oh, hang on, I didn't realize if you just pretend to be sick forever, then let's just
Better
make that.
not, because I'm about done with this now. 2 bloody weeks. Not happy. But
Yeah.
right, I actually need to go now. The cat's here and it's bugging me, and it's going to climb in front of the camera. So
Cool.
I'm going to
We'll
need to go.
do we'll do a slightly less depressing one next week, once we're both properly recovered. Thank you for checking out this week's episode. As always, we'd appreciate if you'd like and follow or subscribe. If you have any questions, or if you're interested in workshops or one-to-one coaching from Gareth and James, send us a message on the Nerve Guys Instagram page. Finally, we'd really appreciate it if you'd check out the Neuroband, our very own product and the sponsor of this video. You'll find a link to the Neuroband in the description of this episode.